When the hijacked bullet train reached 200 kilometers per hour with 300 hostages aboard, every tactical expert said the same thing: impossible to board safely. But Detective Alex Rodriguez wasn't listening to the experts. He was watching the train streak past his helicopter, calculating angles, timing, and the one chance he'd have to drop onto a speeding death trap. "Take me lower," he told the pilot. "If I don't make this jump, those people are dead." Sometimes the only way to save lives is to risk your own. On the Tokyo-Osaka high-speed rail line, Express 447 was conducting its routine morning service with 300 passengers representing the full spectrum of Japanese society. Business executives checked emails on their phones while reviewing morning reports. University students dozed peacefully against train windows, exhausted from late-night study sessions. Tourists marveled at the countryside rushing past at 320 kilometers per hour, cameras ready to capture the scenic beauty of rural Japan. Families with children occupied the family cars, parents managing snacks and entertainment while children pressed their faces against windows, fascinated by the speed at which their world was moving. Detective Alex Rodriguez was 42 years old with 12 years of law enforcement experience, currently assigned to the Metropolitan Police Special Tactics Unit. His expertise included hostage negotiation, tactical assault operations, and high-risk criminal apprehension. Alex had built a reputation for unconventional problem-solving and willingness to take calculated risks when conventional approaches failed to protect innocent lives. That Tuesday morning, Alex was investigating a completely different case, a series of armed robberies in downtown Tokyo, when his entire world shifted toward what would become the most challenging operation of his career. The morning was deceptively peaceful, with clear skies and moderate temperatures that suggested nothing more dangerous than traffic congestion and routine police work. At 0830 hours, police communication systems throughout the metropolitan area erupted with emergency transmissions that would transform a routine morning into a national crisis requiring immediate tactical response. All units, priority emergency. Express 447 reporting hostage situation. Armed terrorists have seized control of high-speed passenger train with approximately 300 civilians aboard. Alex rushed to the Emergency Operations Center, where large digital displays showed real-time GPS tracking of the hijacked train represented as a red dot moving across a map of central Japan at 200 km per hour toward the heart of Tokyo's metropolitan area. Commissioner Johnson, a 25-year veteran of crisis management, briefed the assembled tactical team with the methodical precision that characterized his leadership during major emergencies. Express 447 departed on schedule at 0815 hours with full passenger capacity. Last normal communication occurred at 0827 hours when the engineer reported routine operational status. At 0829 hours, emergency signals were transmitted, followed immediately by complete communications blackout. Alex studied the tactical situation display, noting the train's current position, estimated speed, and projected arrival time at Tokyo Central Terminal. What's our assessment of terrorist numbers and capabilities? Unknown at this time. We know they've achieved complete control of the train's operating systems and have demonstrated capability to maintain speed while preventing any external communication from passengers or crew. Intelligence suggests this is a coordinated operation requiring significant advanced planning and technical expertise. Alex examined the route map more carefully. At current speed, the train would reach Tokyo Central Terminal, one of the world's busiest transportation hubs, in approximately 90 minutes. During morning rush hour, the terminal complex housed over 50,000 commuters, workers, and travelers. At 0835 hours, the first direct communication from the hijackers crackled through police communication systems. One of the train's internal security cameras had been activated, showing a masked figure speaking directly into the lens with calm, calculated authority that suggested significant preparation for this moment. This message is for all law enforcement and government officials currently monitoring this situation. We now control Express 447 and its 300 passengers. Any attempt to interfere with this train's operation will result in immediate execution of hostages. Do not attempt to stop the train. Do not attempt to board the train. Do not attempt to negotiate. We will communicate our demands when we reach our destination. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the operations center in tense silence as the implications became clear. Commissioner Johnson addressed the tactical team with the weight of command decision. Standard protocol requires us to maintain safe distance, establish communication for negotiation, and wait for the train to reach a controllable position. What if they don't stop voluntarily? Alex asked, voicing the question everyone was considering. Then we'll have 50,000 potential casualties in an enclosed terminal complex, plus whatever the terrorists have planned for their final objective. Alex stared through the operations center windows at the Tokyo skyline, thinking about his 8-year-old daughter Maria, who often took trains to visit her grandmother. Every passenger on that train represented someone's family, someone's future, someone's irreplaceable importance to the people who loved them. "Get me onto that train," Alex said, his voice carrying the conviction that had driven him through 12 years of high-risk police operations. "Rodriguez, that's insane. You're talking about boarding a train traveling at 200 kilometers per hour. It's tactically impossible and essentially suicidal. Helicopter insertion. I've done high-speed vehicle boarding before, just never at this velocity. Never at this velocity because it's impossible. The margin of error is zero, and failure means certain death." Alex recalled a similar situation from the previous year, a hijacked bus where negotiation had lasted 6 hours before ending with 12 hostage deaths. The memory of those families receiving death notifications drove his determination to prevent similar tragedy. "Commissioner, protocol says wait and negotiate, but those people can't wait. We have 90 minutes before this situation potentially becomes a mass casualty event." Commissioner Johnson reviewed Alex's service record on his computer screen: 47 successful tactical operations, 0 hostage fatalities, consistent performance under extreme pressure, and documented willingness to risk personal safety for civilian protection. Alex represented their best chance of preventing catastrophic outcomes. "Rodriguez, if you attempt this operation, you're doing it entirely at your own risk and responsibility. The department cannot officially sanction an operation with such low probability of success." "Sir, I understand the risks. But 300 people are depending on someone taking those risks." Alex assembled his equipment with the methodical precision that separated professional tactical officers from amateur risk-takers. Tactical body armor rated for small arms fire, climbing gear designed for vertical assault operations, medical kit containing trauma supplies and pain medications, encrypted communication device for maintaining contact with command, and his service weapon with additional ammunition magazines secured in quick-release pouches. Each piece of equipment had been tested during training and previous operations, but none had been designed for boarding a vehicle traveling at highway speed through helicopter insertion. Alex understood that improvisation and adaptation would be crucial for survival. Pilot Stevens, a 20-year veteran of police aviation with experience in high-risk insertion operations, expressed serious concerns about the mission parameters. "Alex, this mission exceeds every safety protocol we've established. Boarding a moving target at 200 km per hour represents approximately 90% probability of fatal outcome. Stevens, that train contains 300 innocent people, children, parents, grandparents, students. They're facing 100% probability of death if we don't take this risk." The police helicopter lifted off from headquarters, beginning pursuit of the hijacked train that appeared as a sleek, modern projectile racing across the Japanese countryside. From aerial perspective, Express 447 looked deceptively peaceful, but Alex knew that behind those tinted windows, 300 people were experiencing the worst moments of their lives. As the helicopter approached the train, Alex gained his first direct observation of the tactical situation he was about to enter. Through binoculars, he could see masked figures moving through train cars, passengers sitting with their hands visible in surrender positions, and what appeared to be coordinated positioning of terrorist guards throughout the 8-car train. "Rodriguez," Commissioner Johnson's voice crackled through the communication system, "we attempted to establish negotiation with the terrorists. They refused all communication and threatened to execute 5 hostages immediately if we continue any intervention attempts. Alex studied the train's exterior while flying directly overhead, identifying potential entry points and obstacles that would affect his insertion. The train's roof was smooth metal with minimal handholds, aerodynamic design that would create tremendous wind resistance, and access hatches that might provide entry into passenger compartments. Stevens, position me directly over the train's center car. I need a 3-second window for insertion. Alex, if you miss the landing zone, there's no recovery. You'll impact the ground at highway speed. I won't miss. Alex opened the helicopter door, immediately experiencing the full force of 200 km/h winds that nearly pulled him from the aircraft. The noise was overwhelming, helicopter rotors, wind, and the distant sound of the train's passage combining into a mechanical symphony that required shouted communication. Below him, the train continued its relentless progress toward Tokyo, carrying its human cargo toward an uncertain fate that now depended entirely on Alex's ability to successfully complete what tactical manuals considered impossible. Timing is absolutely critical, Stevens shouted over the noise. You have one opportunity. 3, 2, 1. Now. Alex launched himself from the helicopter into empty space, experiencing 3 seconds of free fall while the ground rushed toward him at fatal velocity. His training took over as muscle memory guided him into proper landing formation, arms positioned for impact absorption, legs prepared for roll distribution of force, and mind focused entirely on the small target area representing survival versus death. The impact with the train's roof was tremendous, sending shock waves through Alex's entire body as he collided with metal traveling at highway speed. For a terrifying moment, he began sliding toward the train's edge where a fall would mean instant death, but his climbing gear caught on a maintenance ridge, stopping his slide just inches from disaster. Base, this is Rodriguez. Successfully on target. Beginning assessment. Copy that, Rodriguez. I can't believe you actually made it. Positioned on the train's roof, Alex experienced the full reality of operating on a vehicle traveling at 200 km/h. The wind was constant and powerful, requiring continuous physical effort to maintain position. Every movement had to be calculated and deliberate, because a single mistake would result in falling to certain death. Alex methodically assessed the train's configuration while fighting the wind and noise that made concentration difficult. 8 cars total, with terrorists likely controlling the forward cars where train operations could be managed, and passengers probably confined to rear cars under guard supervision. He located an emergency access hatch on Car 7, designed for maintenance and emergency evacuation. Carefully opening the hatch, Alex peered into the passenger compartment below, seeing approximately 40 terrified passengers sitting with their hands visible while 2 armed guards maintained surveillance from strategic positions. Alex dropped silently into the car, immediately drawing the attention of passengers who stared in amazement at the police officer who had apparently materialized from nowhere. "Police," he whispered, showing his badge and signaling for silence. "I'm here to help you. Stay calm and quiet." An elderly businessman, trembling with fear and relief, whispered back, "The terrorists are in the front cars. 6 or 7 men, heavily armed. They killed the engineer when he tried to resist." Alex moved carefully from car to car, maintaining stealth while gathering intelligence about terrorist positions, passenger locations, and potential tactical opportunities. Car 6 contained 35 additional passengers under guard supervision. Car 5 represented a transition zone where terrorist control became more evident, 2 armed guards maintaining direct surveillance over passengers while communicating with forward command through radio systems. Through the train windows, Alex observed the Japanese countryside racing past at tremendous speed, a reminder that time was running out. Approximately 70 minutes remained before the train would reach Tokyo Central Terminal where thousands of additional lives would be at risk. The train's internal communication system crackled with another terrorist announcement, "Attention all passengers. Any resistance or cooperation with authorities will result in immediate execution of everyone in this car. Remain silent and compliant. Alex understood the tactical challenge: 6 or 7 coordinated terrorists with advanced planning and heavy weapons, 300 hostages who could be caught in crossfire, and a moving platform that eliminated most conventional tactical approaches. Success would require systematic neutralization of guards while protecting civilians and maintaining operational secrecy until the final confrontation. Alex established communication with the operations center while developing his tactical approach. Base, this is Rodriguez. 6 to 7 terrorists confirmed, heavily armed and coordinated. Passengers are scared but currently unharmed. I'm implementing systematic approach, car by car. Rodriguez, backup is approaching your position. Estimated arrival 20 minutes. 20 minutes is too long. Train reaches terminal in 50 minutes, and we need resolution before then. Alex continued his solo operation, understanding that success depended entirely on his ability to neutralize multiple armed terrorists while protecting 300 innocent lives on a moving platform. Moving toward Car 5, Alex spotted the first guard, a tall man carrying an AK-47 rifle and positioned to monitor passengers while maintaining communication with terrorist command. 35 passengers sat in rows, clearly terrified but following instructions to remain silent and compliant. Alex used the element of surprise, dropping from ceiling access behind the guard and executing a silent takedown that rendered the terrorist unconscious without alerting other guards or causing panic among passengers. He secured the guard's weapon and moved toward Car 4, knowing that each successful neutralization brought him closer to the terrorist command center but also increased the likelihood of discovery. Car 4 presented significantly greater tactical challenges: 2 guards positioned with overlapping fields of fire, 40 passengers arranged as potential human shields, and communication equipment that connected directly to terrorist command. Any mistake in this car would immediately alert the entire terrorist cell and potentially trigger mass execution of hostages. Alex created a tactical distraction by activating the train's emergency brake alarm system, causing confusion among the guards who turned their attention toward determining the source of the alert. During this momentary distraction, Alex simultaneously neutralized both guards through coordinated strikes that rendered them unconscious before they could raise an alarm or threaten passengers. However, the brake alarm had achieved its intended effect of creating confusion, but it also attracted unwanted attention from the terrorist leader in the forward cars. The train's internal communication system activated again. Whoever triggered that alarm will identify themselves immediately, or passenger executions will begin in 60 seconds. I know someone has boarded my train, and I will find you. Alex faced a critical decision that would determine the outcome of the entire operation. He could continue attempting covert neutralization, risking mass hostage execution if discovered, or reveal his presence and attempt negotiation that might save lives through direct communication. Moving toward Car 2, Alex encountered the terrorist leader, a man in his 40s with military bearing, sophisticated equipment, and clear command authority over the remaining terrorists. 50 hostages surrounded the leader's position, creating a human shield that made tactical assault impossible without civilian casualties. I know someone has boarded my train, the leader announced through the communication system. Police? Military? Special forces? It doesn't matter. Show yourself within 30 seconds, or passengers will begin dying one by one until you reveal yourself. Alex made the decision that defined his career and potentially saved 300 lives. Raising his hands in surrender position, he slowly entered Car 2 where the terrorist leader waited with weapons trained on civilian targets. I'm Detective Rodriguez, Metropolitan Police. Release the hostages and take me as your prisoner instead. The terrorist leader smiled with cold satisfaction. Brave but foolish, Detective. Did you really think one police officer could stop a carefully planned operation? What operation? What do you hope to accomplish by threatening innocent families? The leader gestured toward the Tokyo skyline visible through train windows. Tokyo Central Terminal during morning rush hour. 50,000 people in an enclosed space. The perfect target for demonstrating our capabilities and sending our message to the world. Alex realized with growing horror that this wasn't simply a hijacking or hostage situation, it was the preliminary phase of a terrorist attack designed to kill thousands of civilians in one of the world's busiest transportation hubs. "Sir," Alex began, drawing on his hostage negotiation training, "innocent people don't deserve to suffer for whatever grievances drove you to this action. Whatever message you want to communicate, there are more effective ways to reach your audience." "More effective?" The leader laughed bitterly. "Our legitimate concerns have been ignored for years by authorities who only understand violence and fear. Today they will understand both." 30 minutes remained before the train would reach Tokyo Central Terminal. Alex could hear helicopter rotors in the distance, indicating that backup forces were approaching, but 15 minutes remained before they could provide tactical support. Through his earpiece, Alex received updates from command. "Rodriguez, backup helicopters are approaching your position. Estimated arrival 15 minutes. Terminal evacuation procedures have begun." The terrorist leader also monitored police communications and heard the transmission. "They're evacuating the terminal now, which means our message is already spreading. Fear is an effective teacher, detective." Alex shifted his approach from tactical negotiation to human psychology, attempting to understand the motivations driving the terrorist leader toward mass violence. "I can see you're an intelligent, well-organized individual. Something significant must have happened to drive you toward this extreme action." "Extreme?" The leader's expression changed subtly, revealing underlying pain beneath the tactical facade. "Government corruption destroyed my family's business over 3 generations. Bureaucratic theft and political favoritism cost my father everything he had built. When he realized he couldn't provide for his family or maintain his honor, he took his own life." Alex recognized the breakthrough he needed, personal pain driving political violence. "I understand your suffering and anger. The system failed your family, and you've carried that burden for years. But these innocent people around us, mothers with children, students, workers, they're not responsible for what happened to your father." The terrorist leader looked at the hostages surrounding them with what might have been doubt. Government officials use this terminal daily. Politicians, bureaucrats, administrators who enable the corruption that destroys honest families. They deserve to face consequences. But families don't deserve to suffer for political failures. Children don't deserve to die for adult corruption. 20 minutes remained before terminal arrival. Alex risked a more personal approach that could either save lives or trigger immediate violence. "I have a daughter. 8 years old. She takes trains to visit her grandmother, just like some of these children with their families. When I look at these passengers, I see my daughter and every family that depends on public transportation for their daily lives." The terrorist leader observed the hostages more carefully, noticing several children among the passengers who were obviously terrified and confused by the situation surrounding them. "What alternative do you suggest, detective? How do we address systematic corruption and political indifference without demonstrating real consequences?" "Stop the train before reaching the terminal. Release all hostages safely. Make your statement through media without harming innocent people. The world is already watching, and your message about government corruption will reach millions of people without requiring violence." 15 minutes to terminal arrival, Alex continued his psychological approach while monitoring the time remaining. "Your father wouldn't want innocent children to suffer and die for his memory. Honor his sacrifice by demonstrating that justice doesn't require innocent blood." The terrorist leader struggled visibly with conflicting emotions, years of planning for revenge versus growing recognition that his actions would harm people who bore no responsibility for his family's suffering. Through radio communications, Alex heard, "All units, terminal evacuation 90% complete. Media coverage extensive. International attention focused on situation." The leader also heard the transmission and realized the implications. "The terminal evacuation proves that our operation has already achieved significant impact. Fear and awareness have been created without requiring bloodshed. Your message about corruption is already spreading worldwide through news coverage. The mission has succeeded in drawing attention to your cause without harming families. 10 minutes remained before terminal arrival. The terrorist leader looked at the hostages, then at Alex, then at his remaining subordinates who were obviously waiting for final orders. You really believe this approach will be more effective than our original plan? I believe your father would be proud of a son who chose justice over vengeance, protection over destruction. After moments of internal struggle that determined the fate of 300 innocent lives, the terrorist leader made his final decision: stop the train. Engage emergency braking systems. Emergency brakes activated throughout Express 447, creating tremendous deceleration forces as the high-speed train began slowing from 200 km per hour. Passengers, realizing that salvation was finally approaching, began crying tears of relief and gratitude while maintaining the silence that had kept them alive. Alex cautiously approached the terrorist leader, understanding that the situation remained dangerous until complete surrender occurred. You made the right choice. History will remember your decision to preserve innocent lives rather than destroy them. Perhaps. But the corruption and indifference that drove us to this action still exist and still require attention. Change happens through courage like yours, but channeled toward construction rather than destruction. Today you demonstrated that kind of courage. Express 447 came to a complete stop approximately 5 kilometers from Tokyo Central Terminal, ending the crisis that had threatened hundreds of lives and potentially thousands more. Backup helicopters immediately landed near the train, deploying tactical teams that secured the area and began evacuation procedures. 300 hostages were safely evacuated from the train, with medical teams conducting immediate health assessments. Remarkably, no injuries had occurred during the entire ordeal, no passengers harmed, no terrorists injured during Alex's neutralization operations, and no violence during the final negotiation. The terrorist leader and his remaining subordinates surrendered peacefully, with no shots fired during the entire operation from initial boarding through final resolution. Alex's impossible mission had succeeded through a combination of tactical skill, physical courage, and psychological understanding that transformed potential enemies into people willing to choose life over death. During the official debriefing, Commissioner Johnson acknowledged the unprecedented nature of Alex's successful operation. Detective Rodriguez, your unorthodox approach not only saved 300 hostages but potentially prevented a terrorist attack that could have killed thousands of people at Tokyo Central Terminal. Commissioner, sometimes human connection and understanding work more effectively than tactical force alone. These people weren't irredeemable monsters, they were human beings driven to extreme actions by personal pain and political frustration. Media coverage of the operation was extensive, with international news outlets reporting, Japanese police detective saves 300 hostages through helicopter jump and negotiation. The story became a case study in crisis resolution and tactical innovation. When Alex returned home after the operation, his 8-year-old daughter Maria greeted him with the excitement that only children possess. Daddy, everyone at school is talking about how you jumped from a helicopter onto a moving train like in the movies. Yes, sweetheart, sometimes police officers have to do dangerous things to protect people who need help. Are you a superhero now? No, Maria. I'm just someone who cares about other people and their families. His wife Elena expressed the complex emotions that spouses of law enforcement officers understand. I'm incredibly proud of what you accomplished and the lives you saved. But I'm also terrified by the risks you took and grateful beyond words that you came home safely. I understand your feelings completely. But 300 families are intact tonight because of those risks, and that makes the danger worthwhile. Over the following weeks, Alex received dozens of letters from passengers who had been on Express 447, each expressing gratitude and sharing personal stories about how the rescue had impacted their families. One letter from an elderly businessman read, Detective Rodriguez, you didn't just save our lives that day. You restored our faith in human compassion and courage. My grandchildren will grow up hearing the story of the police officer who risked everything to save strangers. A mother traveling with 2 young children wrote, My children still talk about the brave police officer who came from the sky to help everyone. You've become their real-life superhero, and mine too. A university student sent a handwritten note, "Detective Rodriguez, I was on my way to a job interview that would determine my career future. Because of your courage, I had that interview and got the position. My entire future exists because you risked your life for people you'd never met." During the legal proceedings that followed, the terrorist leader received a reduced sentence due to his peaceful surrender and cooperation with authorities. In a remarkable turn of events, he publicly acknowledged Alex's role in preventing tragedy. "Detective Rodriguez showed me a different path when I was consumed by anger and thoughts of revenge. He helped me understand that destroying innocent lives wouldn't honor my father's memory or create positive change. I will never forget the lesson about choosing compassion over hatred." The leader also provided valuable intelligence about other potential terrorist activities, leading to prevention of additional attacks and demonstrating that former enemies could become allies in protecting innocent lives. Alex's successful operation became a case study taught in police academies and tactical training programs worldwide. The Rodriguez method combined physical courage with psychological understanding, demonstrating that effective crisis resolution often required both tactical skill and human empathy. More importantly for Alex personally, 300 people had returned safely to their families because one police officer refused to accept "impossible" as an acceptable answer when innocent lives were at stake. The Tokyo-Osaka high-speed rail line resumed normal operations within days of the incident. However, passengers and crew members continued discussing the day when a hero dropped from the sky to save them, creating a legend that would be remembered for generations. Alex chose to remain in law enforcement and continue serving with the Special Tactics Unit, understanding that his experience made him more valuable as both an operator and trainer. His story inspired other officers to consider unconventional approaches when conventional methods might fail to protect civilians. Years later, when reflecting on the operation, Alex understood that his success hadn't come from superhuman abilities or perfect planning. Instead, it had resulted from willingness to take calculated risks for other people, combined with recognition that even enemies retain human dignity and capacity for redemption. The helicopter jump had been physically impossible according to tactical manuals, but it had succeeded through preparation, courage, and favorable circumstances. The negotiation had been psychologically challenging, but it had succeeded through empathy, patience, and genuine concern for human life. Alex learned that heroism doesn't require fearlessness or supernatural abilities, it requires ordinary people making extraordinary choices when others depend on their actions. The 300 passengers saved that day went on to live complete lives, raise families, build careers, and contribute to society in ways that multiplied the impact of Alex's decision to risk everything for strangers. Children were born who would not have existed, relationships flourished that would have been ended by tragedy, and countless moments of human happiness occurred because one police officer refused to abandon people who needed help. Alex's story became proof that individual courage, combined with compassion and tactical skill, could overcome seemingly impossible circumstances and create positive change that extended far beyond the immediate crisis. The terrorist leader, serving his reduced sentence, became an advocate for peaceful political change and helped authorities prevent additional attacks by providing intelligence about extremist networks. His transformation from would-be mass murderer to peacemaker demonstrated that even the most damaged individuals could choose redemption when shown alternative paths. And that's Alex Rodriguez's hostage train story, the detective who jumped from a helicopter onto a moving train to save 300 lives. Here at Last Signal Stories, we believe every soldier's final message deserves to be heard. If this story of courage, human connection, and peaceful resolution moved you, hit subscribe for more military stories. Drop a comment below, would you have taken the same risk as Alex? Until next time, stay tuned for the signal.